In one village there lived a man so feared, even animals listened to him. Enemies couldn't defeat him. Villagers couldn't understand him. But in the end, it wasn't a man that brought him down. Long ago in Luyanga village there lived a man called Cato. Cato was not just strong. There are many strong men. But he had something extra. Presence. The kind that makes people adjust how they stand when you arrive. And the truth is, Cato enjoyed that karma. People said strange things about him. That animals listened to him. Not in a dramatic way, no thunder, no lightning, just strangely. Goats behaved. Dogs kept quiet. Even stubborn animals seemed to think twice around him. Cato never explained anything. He would just look at you like you were the one not understanding something simple. So the stories grew. At that time, Luyanga had a problem. Raiders from Makori. They came at night, quietly, and left with cattle that did not belong to them. One night they came for Cato's herd. Cato stepped outside, looked at them, then glanced toward his beehives like a man checking on something he already trusted. He said something softly. What followed was not a discussion. It was bees, many bees, the kind that do not listen to apologies. Those men did not leave with cows that night. They left with speed. That should have been the end of it. But some people do not forget embarrassment. The Makori raiders came back. This time not to steal, but for revenge. Cato saw them coming. And this time he did not call the bees. Instead he gathered young boys from the village and gave each of them a bow. But no arrows. Only sticks. The boys stood in front, trying to look serious. Cato himself stood among them, disguised like one of the boys. From a distance, it looked completely unserious. When the raiders arrived and saw this, they stopped. That was the moment Cato was waiting for. From inside the group, he gave a quiet command. The boys released their sticks. They flew weakly, doing nothing at all. The raiders laughed even harder. Some even looked up, following them like it was entertainment. And that is when it happened. From the trees above, the real warriors struck. Arrows came down clean and fast. The laughter ended immediately. The raiders scattered, but it was too late. They had already been outplayed before they even understood what was happening. When it was over, Cato stepped out from among the boys, brushing himself calmly as if nothing serious had taken place. That day, the village did not just respect him. They were convinced. From then on, his name carried weight. And Cato carried it proudly. He often moved with his son, Tay. One day, while hunting in the hills, a lion blocked their path. The boy froze, but Cato stood firm. "Look at it," he said. "Stand properly." The lion watched them for a long moment, then stepped aside and walked away. That story spread quickly, and with it the fear. But the one that truly stayed with people came not long after. Word had traveled beyond Luyanga about a man who could not be shaken. Among those who heard it was a cattle raider named Barassa. Barassa had already heard of how Cato had humiliated the Makori raiders, and he did not believe it. He gathered a small group of men and came with one purpose: to prove that Cato was just a man like any other. They arrived at dawn, moving quietly through the grazing fields. They moved carefully under the cover of darkness and slipped into Cato's kraal, hands working fast to untie the animals. But among those cattle was one they did not understand. Timbo. Timbo was larger than the rest, still and watchful. And then it made a sound. A warning. Inside his hut, Cato's eyes opened immediately. Silence. Then he heard it again. He stood up, stepped outside, and saw them. For a brief moment he just watched. Then his voice cut through the night. "Timbo, do what you do best." Timbo lifted its head, stamped the ground once. Then everything changed. It charged. Straight through the men. Ropes dropped. Voices rose. Bodies collided as the raiders stumbled over each other, trying to escape them. Sudden force tearing through their formation. Within moments the kraal was empty again. The cattle settled. The night returned. And by morning the story had already begun to spread. Not just that Cato was dangerous, but that even his animals knew when to fight. After that, people stopped asking questions. They just believed. From that day, nobody tried him again. But something had already started growing inside Cato. Pride. Even in the evenings when he sat with his friends drinking, you could hear it. "I'm not like you people," he would say. "Some things cannot touch me." His friends would laugh, but not too much. Then came that night. They had been drinking, laughing, and singing as they walked home. Then the rain came. Heavy. By the time they reached the small river, it was no longer harmless. The water was moving fast, louder than usual. "Cato, let us wait," one friend said. "This one is not safe." Another added, "Even strong men respect water like this." But Cato laughed. "You people have started fearing everything," he said. He stepped in, one leg, then the other. For a moment nothing happened. Then the river shifted. And just like that, it took him. His friends shouted, ran along the bank, called his name, but the water had already carried him away. All they saw was his coat moving in the dark current. The next morning the village was quiet. His son, now grown, went to search. He followed the river until he found him, caught in reeds near the bank. Still, he carried him home. And that was how Cato's story ended. A man who stood before lions, outsmarted enemies, and was feared by many, but forgot that even something small can refuse to respect you. So tell me, was Cato truly untouchable? Or did he just believe it for too long?